Dana White might be the king of MMA, but he's not anyone's favorite right now. In fact, there's rumors of him getting fired. Yep, that's right. And guess who's been asked to remove him from his post? None other than Ari Emanuel. With both parties in a tight fix, it's going to be interesting to see what the next step's going to be for the UFC boss. Keep watching this video to find out more. First of all, Emanuel's in hot water thanks to Dana. According to the news agency Deadline, the Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel has gotten on the bad side of the California Legislative Women's Caucus because of his continued silence on the leaked video of Dana White slapping his wife at a New Year's Eve party in Mexico. The influential Golden State political group stated in a letter to Emanuel that every day that Mr. White's actions go unaccounted for, his silence becomes more piercing and troubling. Senator Nancy Skinner said that in the day following the video's release, Ari has remained silent. By the way, Skinner isn't just the group's leader. She's known for her sponsorship of California's groundbreaking law that protects college athletes' rights to their name, image, and likeness. Anyway, going back to Golden State's statement, they noted that Emanuel's continued silence speaks volumes before turning the Mel Gibson and Kanye West critic, aka Emanuel's words on him. Quoting the man himself, "Silence and inaction are not an option," which is why they were pretty baffled by the way that he continued to just do that. The option that, well, shouldn't even be an option. The group also added that while they're aware of the fact that Dana's apologized, they've yet to see any consequences for his actions. The letter outlined that as the chief executive officer of Endeavor, the UFC's parent company, Emanuel has the authority of deciding who leads the UFC. Mr. White isn't just the external face of the UFC, he's the leader who sets the expectations for the athletes as well. Endeavor representatives haven't made any comments regarding Dana's actions. Coming up, here's how White responded. The UFC president, however, had his own take on the situation, one that he shared with reporters before UFC Fight Night 217. According to the king of MMA, he's been punished enough, and if he's removed from his post, it's only going to hurt others more than him. He asked the reporters what the repercussions should be. "You tell me. I take 30 days off." His point was that even if he does take time off, it doesn't affect him, but it does affect the people who work with and look up to him. It hurts the company, employees, and fighters, but it doesn't hurt him one bit. So the wonderful solution of giving him the boot so that he's learned his lesson, it's not going to cut it. White also added that he doesn't need to reflect regarding the situation because he admits that he's in the wrong. He discussed the NYE slap incident with Emanuel and added that nobody is happy about this. And as far as punishments go, the fact that he's become a walking label of violence and domestic abuse seems to be punishment enough. Because in White's words, "I've got to walk around for however long I live with that label on him." Dana also shared he's aware he's lost the respect of lots of people, like the media, fighters, friends, and acquaintances, and that there are a lot of things he's going to have to deal with for the rest of his life that are much more of a punishment than a 30 to 60 days absence. We're not going to lie, but we do agree with him. Up next, here's how ESPN handled the incident. Spoiler alert, not that well. ESPN discouraged its employees from covering the incident, which obviously caused a media meltdown as netizens started criticizing the business practices that were followed during the Dana White slap incident. Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN expert, discussed the incident during a broadcast in which he called Dana White a friend. Smith also spoke about the guilt that the 53-year-old had felt after the incident. Plus, both Dana and his wife Ann issued separate statements on the matter to TMZ after the video went viral. During his statement, it was revealed by Dana that he was intoxicated. Another ESPN spokesperson, writer Jeff Wangenheim, openly spoke against the issue and revealed that the company had discouraged staff from making any posts on the matter. #ToxicWorkCulture. And this is an eyebrow-raising issue because ESPN isn't just UFC's official broadcasting partner. It airs the Fight Night events and is UFC's PPV distributor. Oh, and how could we forget that the multi-billion-dollar deal between ESPN and UFC also includes the rights of The Ultimate Fighter. Ariel Helwani, a former ESPN journalist, is another name that took a step against Dana. A very vocal one, by the way. Dana has targeted Ariel countless times in retaliation. So, with the ball in Ariel's court, he didn't show any extra support. The journalist definitely did not sugarcoat his words when discussing how much he disapproved of Dana's actions. And while he was at it, slammed major publications like ESPN for not covering the story as well. One thing's for sure, Ariel definitely won Twitter fans' support for his coverage on the matter. What's more, here's how fans reacted to Dana's position considered being taken away. Fans had mixed reactions. Some fans felt like people were making a big deal out of something that had already been resolved between the parties involved. One Twitter user said that everyone acknowledges the fact that the incident was wrong, but it's stupid to drag someone when his wife, the one who got slapped, has already forgiven him, and added, "Why is the anonymous Twitter world calling for his job?" Another person was on the same page and asked why Dana should leave, because his wife hit him and he slapped her back. And according to this netizen, that's called equality, and added that therefore women don't deserve to be treated differently than a man, even in this scenario. But the majority wanted to see White exit the UFC. One person stated that if he stays, then the UFC, Ari, Endeavor are basically saying it's okay to hit a woman if you make others a ton of money. Yeah, we've got to say that does sound problematic. Another fan wanted to hear Rogan's perspective on the verdict. While one fan said, "It's high time Dana leaves the UFC, because for over 3 decades, he's made a living bullying everyone." The fan then quoted the king of MMA himself that, "We are not in the nice guy business," and added, "Great, that's fine and dandy, because since you're not in the nice guy business, White must be held accountable." But the thing that we thought was the most interesting was how one fan stated they wouldn't be shocked if this whole thing was staged to juice up publicity for the upcoming show. Moving on, Joe Rogan might have to kiss his UFC career goodbye. Things aren't looking good for Rogan, because if Dana is fired from the UFC presidency, it seems that the UFC commentator is going to be the first person to follow suit and leave the company. Joe Rogan revealed in an episode of the JRE podcast with Will Harris that there's literally a clause written in his contract that when he, aka Dana White, leaves, he will too. Now, are you as confused as us and wondering why in the world someone would add such a clause into their contract? Well, it seems that Rogan loves and respects White a lot. Oh, and he loves working with him too. According to Joe, Dana brought him into his career, which is why he doesn't want to work for anybody else. Apparently, working for White is super easy because he's so wild and so crazy. We just wish others could relate to what Rogan's saying. Either way, if both the president of the UFC and its longtime commentator of almost 20 years decides to leave, it's going to be a huge loss for the company and the future of MMA. That's one thing we know for a fact. Do you guys think Rogan's serious about the clause in his contract, or will he stay in the UFC in the event that Dana has to step down as the company's president? We know diehard fans of the commentator won't want him to leave the UFC, and we've got to agree that the MMA company would seem pretty out of place without its OG commentator. Like, come on, his voice is the one constant during all of the sport's core memory moments. Last but not least, the Power Slap Fest went from promoted to postponed. White took to Twitter to promote his new Power Slap League television show, and that too only a few days after the UFC president was filmed slapping his wife on New Year's Eve. The show's been advertised as both Power Slap League and Dana White's Power Slap League, though the second title isn't being used as much currently. Cause, well, you know how bad that sounds, right? The UFC and the parent company Endeavor, as well as the chief broadcast partner ESPN, have all refused to comment on the incident involving White. Imagine the amount of damage control his marketing and PR team must have done following that one tweet. He tweeted a trailer for the show and referenced its television debut that'll be later this month. It's no surprise that White received negative criticism on the 10th of January when White promoted his new show. One person tweeted that Dana's fight with his wife was a good commercial for the new show, and then gave a dry congratulations to the UFC president. Another Twitter user quipped that White's timing is impeccable, to the point that they're questioning whether this could possibly be a joke. Meanwhile, one user tweeted that Dana's a disgrace and a poor excuse of a man, and then blocked his account. Talk about bad timing. Yikes. Was it in poor taste to advertise the new show while things are so delicate? The good thing is that after the NYE event, the show's been postponed. The Power Slap Fest will now premiere on January 18th and has been confirmed during the ongoing rumors of the show being canceled or shelved for later. That's a wrap for this video. Do you think Dana should step down as president? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.